Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. Every single day, the Pirate Broadcast, we are out and we are about, and we're talking to another pirate, Mike. Michael, how you doing, man?
I'm hanging in there, man. I'm riding the roller coaster, ups and downs and in and out, and trying to ride the waves as they come.
Well, we were talking about it before the show, and as we know, we can't escape the reality of what life will bring to us and all of the nuances of in and out and up and down and in back and forth, because it's just going to happen. Life is going to happen for us, and sometimes it's not comfortable happening that's taking place, right?
It's, like I got used to growth. I got used to discomfort. I got used to not being comfortable. And then as soon as I got a little bit comfortable, it's like a new tidal wave came, and it was like I wasn't for it. I just wasn't ready for it. And the emotions flowed, and life just, just pulled me down a little bit. But it's okay. You fight through it, right? You can't. What I've learned is avoiding it makes it worse. And since I've made a pledge to myself to get rid of my escapisms and not really go to any of them, I kind of just sat in it all weekend.
Yeah.
And it's cathartic when you do that, right? Like there's power in sitting through it, and it hurts though. It hurts like hell. Got to tell you, it's the pain is immense when you allow yourself to feel it.
Yeah.
But I think it's the only way we grow. It's the only way we process.
Well, and I think a lot of people, like you said, there's a lot of people that try to avoid it. They try to escape from it. And, and there's a number of ways that you can avoid that. And really, I think it goes along with the entire mental health issues and some of the challenges that we face in society today. And especially being a man, there's a lot of people that, are going through their own battles and their own challenges and looking to see how they can improve their lives, improve their relationships, and improve the way that we're doing things in today's society. And it's not always easy. There's no roadmap that tells us exactly what needs to be done for us.
There's not, right? And being, like you said, being a male, it makes it a little bit more difficult sometimes. But luckily, I let go of that stigma, and I just don't care, right? Like I don't care what people think, and if I think I'm weak and I cry on a live or I get emotional, right?
Right.
Saturday was emotionally one of the darkest days of my life. Sorry about the background noise. I'm at a gas station here trying to do this. So, like Saturday was one of the most emotional days of my life and one of the hardest emotion days I've ever had. And I ended up going live on my YouTube Saturday night, holding back tears or crying part of the time. And, there's something cathartic in letting it out and just not hiding, right? I mean, for me, getting rid of my escapisms, I've been sober almost 15 years. I used to hide behind porn, strip clubs, women, gambling. I mean, almost anything you can imagine, I would escape to it, right? Even social media. And what I did Saturday was I shut down everything. I just present in any shape or form to almost anyone, actually. My communication was minimal to anyone. I didn't really have much to say to anyone, and I just kind of just sat in it and I rode the emotions. It went really dark for a while. Like it went really dark. But I think that's also part of, a testament to how strong we are when we allow ourselves to be.
Well, we're incredibly flexible as human beings and resilient. And I think people fail to realize how much power and authority they have over their own future, taking responsibility for our actions and actually owning up to the things that we've done and the things that we're doing and the things that we need to do is not always an easy pill to swallow. We have things, there's all kinds of things that, I kind of took the weekend off myself and took a break from a lot of things just to you know, make sure that I'm checking in with myself. We get so involved and engaged in what other people are doing, and how we can help each other out, and sometimes it's just a good thing to check in with yourself and know that you're okay. And
And but it's also okay to know if you're not okay, right? It's
yeah,
okay just where you're at, right? Like sometimes you've just got to take that step back and see where you're at that moment, because it really is okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel like shit. It's okay to not be in the right space.
yeah,
You know, you got to trust yourself to get through it in some way, right? And today's still not a great day.
yeah,
Emotionally, I'm still kind of messed, but I'm a little bit better. Um, you know, the difference between me and who I was a year ago is I would have just buried it,
yeah,
right? Like, I mean, now where I just don't bury anymore. I I,
yeah,
I wear my I'm always putting it out there, no matter what it is, and I'm okay being vulnerable with it. I'm okay being honest with it. I need to be, because it's part of who I am, right? It's part of me living into my core values. Hiding stuff like that and pretending that I'm okay when I'm not, and putting up a front is just not who I am at all. And I
yeah.
can't even do it. I just can't even do it anymore. Um,
Well, the other thing about it, Mike, is that there's really, I mean, life goes on, right? We can't stop and put things on pause. At least a lot of us have, things that we have to take care of in the world. And, sometimes it gets to the point where we have to put everything on pause just to get clarity on what's taking place and get healthy. And I just know that there's a process that everybody has to go through individually. And like I said, there's no rule book, and it's really healthy to go through the process, understand what is your trigger, what is your escape, what is your what is the reason for that escape, and then solve the problem from the source. It's like, let's clean it up, let's get it going.
you know what's ironic? Even about 9 months ago, I realized that another escape for me was helping people, right?
Mhm.
Because you get gratification from helping others. Um, and it's such a default for who I am as a person to be a helper for others,
Yeah,
and to just be there to lift others up, that I think that's also part of the reason I just shut down that part of me also, because I didn't want to allow myself to fall into those escapes. I didn't want to tempt myself. I didn't want to put myself in that position. I wanted to just go through it. I was very fortunate, being a single father of three and taking care of these kids 1,200 miles from home, still
yeah,
almost a year now. Um, it's a lot every day, right? And I was fortunate. This is a weekend that their mother had them for 10 hours on Saturday, so it allowed me the time to just stop everything,
yeah,
right? And most days I can't, right? Because I don't have a choice. I've got to go pick up the kids. I got to take care of the kids. I got to get the kids fed. I got to get them bathed. It started Friday night, but I mean, I took care of them and they were still my priority. But then Saturday, when I had time for myself, I had a whole to-do list of things to do. And I just looked at it and I said, I'm not getting anything done. I'm just not going to do a thing,
yeah,
because I really to just break down. I needed to just let it out, because it multiplies when you bury it. It multiplies when you hide from it.
yeah.
And my court date's in 8 days, and hopefully I'll be on my way out of here within the next couple weeks. And I need to get through this shit, because once I move to that next phase, my life's going to be completely different, and I don't want to carry this baggage forward. I just don't
Yeah.
want it anymore.
Peel back the
So,
onion, you know.
yeah. But does
Do
it
what
have a lot of layers? I tell you.
We all have a
every
lot of
every
layers. I just want to say, give a shout out to a few people that have joined us, Mike. Tracy, the always awesome producer of the show. She takes care of me and keeps me honest. She's always working hard to do great work here. I appreciate you. Love you, Tracy. Olivia, good morning,
Hey,
Mike and Russ. Olivia, you're familiar with Olivia. She's also always awesome. Long time no see. Jenny Gold is in the house. Jenny, good morning. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Love the thing that you're doing, and keep doing it. Olivia says, I like the addition of the captions. Nice feature. Yeah, for those that aren't familiar with this, LinkedIn added captions. So if you're watching this from LinkedIn, the live captions are now active, and you can watch this, or you can read this. So Russ Hedge is in the house. Thanks, Russ. Good morning. It's early for you. Thank you for being here. Donna Dunn, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Jenny says, love you, Tracy. So I appreciate, Russ says, I appreciate your authenticity, Michael. You are a blessing. Thank you so much. Olivia says, yes, sometimes, Russ, you are full on and doing these broadcasts. So finding time to decompress, check in is vital. Yeah, I'm a regular human. There's so many people that, and one of the things that I've buried myself into over the years, Mike, is my work. I'll just work a little harder. All my problems can be solved if I just work a little harder. And it's not the answer. It's never been the answer. It makes me feel good temporarily, and it's still not the answer.
It's funny. I've done the same thing, right? There was a period of years that every time I started getting uncomfortable, I opened a new business. Like there was one time I think I had 11 companies, because that was the only way I was able to bring my creativity out at that time.
Yeah.
And it was creating the business structure, creating the concepts, the ideas, everything, bringing pieces together. So, I mean, there was a period of probably 5 years where all I did, every time I started feeling it creep up, I'd make a new company, because I wasn't busy enough. So I had to find another way to be busier.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one. That's, because we're caught up in that financial security, and we need to have certain things, and consumerism, and all these beliefs that have been conditioned into us through our life, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's such a thing as financial security anymore when they're writing $1 trillion checks on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of scary where we're going right now, and
the only security that we have is knowing that we can figure it out.
Yeah. And I always say, right, our true value is the value we bring to society, not our checkbook.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. I know for a fact that if the currency disappeared tomorrow, I might even end up being more valuable tomorrow than I am today. just because I bring more value than what my currency and my account says.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I know that for a fact, and I have confidence in myself that, like you said, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Whether we're trading slices of bread, or whether we're trading bottles of water because that's what we need, or whether it's a different currency and they're going to superinflate. Who knows? I mean,
yeah.
Economically speaking, which is a different direction probably for the show, but the numbers that they're doing are staggering, and it doesn't make any sense.
I'm not really understanding everything that's going on around us.
No.
And here's what I know from my experience, and maybe you can add some color to this, is the idea that there's a lot of things that concern me that I cannot be worried about, because I have no control over what other people do. I have control over what I'm able to do. I'm able to control who I help and how I help them. I control the value that I deliver to the world, and I can continue to be kind and considerate. Kindness is cool. Smiles are free. I'll still return my shopping carts, things like that. See if I can, add a little bit of value to the world around me. Beyond that, I don't have the burden of worrying about what's been past or what's going on in the future. And To some degree, that's liberating. And I still have days where it's not necessarily easy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm there yet, right? But I'm closer than I've ever been. I try to. I've over the past few months, I've gotten really good at releasing control over things that I have no control over,
Mhm.
and they really don't do me like it used to.
Yeah.
Um, some things are more painful than others, but at the same time, the reality is I can only control my reactions and actions. Right? It's like you
Hmm.
said, being kind, doing the right thing, being there for others, even if it's just a sounding board. Right? Like I can only do these things to the best of my ability. And when I know I'm not in the right space, I'm going to just shut down. I'm not going to talk to people because I'm just not going to give back the information that's needed. I'm not going to support, what they need to hear, right? And I'd rather say nothing than say the wrong thing and hurt somebody worse than they're already hurting. Um, you know, Again, it goes back to our value, right? What's our values, and how do we show our values in the world? How do we stand behind our values and be transparent and be honest with ourselves and everyone else? I mean, that's the reality. You gotta own shit when you do it wrong. You gotta own and be accountable to your actions and reactions,
Yeah.
because that's all you can do in this world. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes this bad decisions, but
Yeah.
you gotta own it. You just
Yeah.
gotta own it and that's the thing, and that's the part that people don't like doing.
And one of the bigger challenges that we're running into now is a lot of people haven't taken the time or moved into a space where they could just be by themselves, alone, silence in their own ideas, their own thoughts, and decompress and disconnect and actually listen to what is going on in their head. And we're always connected. We're always influenced by noise. We're always connected to social, to news, to everything that's going on around us. And it's really difficult nowadays to actually take a walkabout and go out into the wilderness and not know what's going on around us and just listen to ourselves and be with ourselves and understand, hey, what am I responsible for? What do I have control over? What am I feeling? What is it that bothers me? What is it that triggers me? What is it that allows me to be upset? Where do I find joy? How do I navigate this world that I'm living in right now? What do I want to change? All of these answers and questions. Sometimes we get caught up in the environment that we live in, and we never take the time to think about it or talk with ourselves about it. So it's really a dangerous space, and as you know, suicide is prevalent now. And there's a lot of people that are just checking out and saying, "Hey, I don't want to deal with this anymore." And
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, right, the work I've done in the past 9 months and that I've really done on myself, if I wouldn't have done that, Saturday would have never happened, right? I would have never been able
yeah.
to sit in silence. The scariest place for me my whole life was in my head, right?
Mm,
Because I've done the work and I can see this is what triggered me, this is why it triggered me, go back to a core root issue, start working on that. Like it's helped me identify issues. It's helped me really get to the core root problems that I've dealt with my whole life, that I've been avoiding my whole life. And it's a lot of self-analysis and a lot of honesty with ourselves, right?
yeah.
Because we've got to be accountable for our side of it. We've got to own our side. And we can't be accountable for somebody else's side. We
Yeah.
can't own their reactions or actions around it. And that is one of the hardest things for me to do, right? Because I never want to hurt anybody. I never want to, put anybody out there. I never want to, put myself in a position that somebody's going to hurt from my message. But I also now know that me being true to me being true to my core, me being transparent is being honest about where I'm at and what's going on,
Yeah.
and I've got to put myself first when it comes to that, because that's where that worth comes from. That's where that self-esteem comes from. That's where that true resilience and true strength comes from, to be able to fight through those situations when you're in them.
Yeah.
You've got to give yourself that appreciation.
Yeah.
And it's tough, right? Because suicides are really prevalent right now, and they're going to probably only get worse at the direction things are going. I mean, the retail industry is going to be in a lot of trouble over the next 6 months. I can't imagine what's going to change that anytime soon. And we're at a scary point in time. I mean, we
Yeah.
really are. In some ways, I feel like we're 1928 looking at 1929 right now. That's what it kind of feels like. Walking that Great Depression and just that that ignorance is bliss mentality. It's almost what it kind of feels like. And the difference between now and then is tax rates are so much lower now, and we're not even in it yet. And the government's already writing checks, enormous checks.
Yeah.
And I just don't know what's going to change. What's going to happen? How are we going to, what kind of innovation can humanity spring to get us out of this before it gets too deep? Because that's what it's going to take is human ingenuity and innovation and finding new ways to do things.
Well, one of the things that I know, as humanity goes, we're all flying through space in the same rock, right? We're doing exactly what we're doing, and at some point in time, we have to figure this out. History repeats itself. Centuries and centuries of civilizations coming and going. At some point in time, you'd think that as we get smarter and advance in civilization, we would figure it out. And it just seems like it's not quite there yet. So, and I'm not one to spread doom and gloom or anything like that. However, what I do encourage is not being a victim. We are where we are because of the decisions we made and the choices we took on, and owning that, like you said, owning all of those decisions, become who we are. We are the fabric of our decisions, fabric of our choice, and being okay with that and saying, hey, I screwed up, or I did well, or somewhere in between is the truth. And don't be a victim. I'm just really I'm nervous about some of the things that are taking place around me on the bigger picture of people being victims and needing to be taken care of. And, trust me, I know I've been there, and it takes a long time to get out of it and feel like you have control over something. And ultimately, you do have control over something. You have control over your thoughts. You have control over your emotions. You have control over your mind, and you have control over the decisions you make every day to improve who you were yesterday.
100%. And, it's like you mentioned, the civilization thing is really intriguing to me, because for some reason, humanity falls into the same issues time and time again, right, over history. And we go back to greed and gluttony and lust and all these other things that just destroy us as humanity. And now it's amplified because now we have connectivity, right? Now we can talk to any world anywhere, and we just constantly divide ourselves as a human race. Like, there is one race on this planet, and that is the human race. And we're looking for the divisive ways and hate and blame, and it's tragic. And I don't know how many times we have to read this. Well, maybe because it's not in our history books enough, but I don't know how many times we have to see this, civilizations collapse before we understand that we bring it upon ourselves, and the only person that we can control in that is ourselves, right? And like you said, I was a victim my whole life until really these last 5 months. Like, even when I first started doing all this work, I was still in the victim headspace, and I slip back there. I really do. But I've done a lot of work on myself, and I've worked really friggin' hard, and I deserve where I'm at today to appreciate myself and understand that my decisions are mine, and if I made them, then I own it, right? It's a lot. It is a lot to go through. It is a lot to understand and own. this it's a tough decision to start that journey, but it's so worth it. It really is. I mean, the pain is worth what you get out of it.
Yeah. Olivia says, love that. The only true security we have is we figure it out. That's
Yeah.
it's absolutely true. Donna Dunn
It,
says, Russ, you are right. We can only control what comes from us. Absolutely. Mike Baker, victims victimize others as they blame everyone for everything.
yeah, 100%.
You know, and responsibility and maturity, absolutely positively true. The thing that I'm really reflecting on as you're saying all of these things is that, you know, like myself, I've always thought in the mindset of using my pain as fuel for my future. You know, lost my son to suicide, lost my dad last year. I've been divorced, lost jobs, lost careers, lost money, been homeless. All of these things that have impacted my life in a positive and a negative way. And for me, when I look back on them, Mike, they're all experiences that have delivered the DNA of who I am now, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, at the time it was some of these things were incredibly uncomfortable. And I wanted to just run away. I wanted to avoid the pain that I was going through. And because I didn't, now it becomes the fuel for my future. And I'm far from perfect. I'm far from where I think I can imagine where I want to be. And one of the biggest challenges I have, and this is probably a topic for another show, is that some of the ideas, the places that where I said, I want to get to this place. And once I get to this place, life is going to be good. Life is going to be happy. And then when I got there, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And so this illusion of knowing what the future will deliver in your happiness, to me, has been the least amount of security that I've had in my life. And so finding joy every day and knowing that I can figure things out that will allow me to live a joyful and happy life and fulfilling life, and be able to connect with people like yourself and talk about real issues that are out there every single day. That's what's important to me. And no, I don't have a mansion and a yacht. And the reality is I don't want a mansion and a yacht because it's different problems.
Yeah.
It's bigger issues. And so
It is.
how do you think through that now that you've gone through this work on yourself and being able to navigate some of the thoughts in your head?
So, okay. So, first thing I did was got rid of goals. I don't believe in goals
Okay.
because, like you said, when you would set something and you get there, you always felt disappointed. For me, I would set something, get there, and even exceed it a little bit. And then it would be like, well, what do I do now? And then I felt like I had to start the process over.
Uh-huh.
So, the way that it works, it really doesn't fulfill me. So what I did was I switched to a legacy goal, because I can't complete that till I'm dead, and there is no starting again at that point with this
Hmm.
lifetime.
Yeah.
So that's what I is to elevate humanity through knowledge and understanding, and it has a big enough scope, but a focused enough scope that I can do any of the things that I'm working on, or any new opportunities that come my way, and I can adapt and move and be agile into those ventures and situations and circumstances, and really uplift humanity. Um, as far as setting happiness as a situation,
Hmm.
I still sometimes get caught up in that, right? Like I still sometimes see things, shiny objects, something that I think, oh, this will make me really happy in the end. And it's like you said, it's usually a letdown.
Yeah.
Because my expectations aren't real. They're based on this scenario that doesn't exist, right?
Yeah.
It's so I've learned to just start looking at scenarios that do exist, not ones that don't. Like I'm starting to just see things for what they are, and not what I want them to be.
Yeah.
Right. And I've made that mistake a lot as I've gone through this work, because I keep thinking I'm getting somewhere. Let me make this decision. And it's like, oh, I'm not there yet. Oh shit. Like let's take a step back, right? Because I've got to unwrap this a little. And
Yeah.
and that's doing. As I'm making steps forward, I'm making decisions that aren't necessarily forward, and I've got to adapt to it.
Yeah. Well, as always, and the way I explain it to a lot of people is I'm just a work in progress, and today's what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And as we know that tomorrow is not guaranteed, nor is it promised. Life is frail, and we are resilient. And if you can live in the resilience of your life and become resilient with everything that you do, say, and expect, then being comfortable and being content with what you have is not a bad thing. And it's not to say that you can't go over big audacious goals and missions and intent. I love listening to my intentions. Where am I? Here's a direction I'm going. It's like going down riding down the road and saying, if I can get to the next telephone pole, I'll be, that'll be okay. It's like, okay, I'm going to do that and just do one step at a time and make it okay. But I love the idea that we're making progress. I love the opportunity to hang out with you, Mike, and I look forward to future conversations because, as always, it's great to connect and keep us posted on what your progress is and what you're doing, man.
Definitely, man. And it's time to have you on my show once I get settled after I'm done with this court thing and settled wherever I'm going. So sometime in April, I'll have you on.
Anytime, brother. Well, thank you so much for showing up. Go on about your day. Have a great one. Get back and be productive. And I look forward to our next conversation, Mike.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And everyone, if you found this valuable and it touched you in any way, shape, or form, share it out with somebody that needs to hear it. They're all about the connections, the conversations, and also collaboration. We all have something that we can do to add value. We have a gift, we have a message, we have a mission in life, and we're all here to help each other out, in my opinion, because kindness is cool, smiles are free, and I want you to go out and enjoy your day. Thanks, Mike. Be in touch.
Thanks, Russ. Appreciate you.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about,